All right, boys. Talk to me about some dad wins or fails that we may have had this week.
Man, we found out the gender
Oh, no way.
of our new baby. And
So wait, set the scene. Set the scene.
So
four girls right now.
Yes. So 4 girls. We found out we're having a 5th baby.
Okay.
And then so my wife sets this up, right, so that the nurse calls her sister. Like, we get the blood work.
Okay.
The nurse calls her sister. We call her the keeper of the gender.
Okay.
So the keeper of the gender has to keep this locked up, right? And she's a steel vault. She did awesome.
Okay.
And then she has to call the baker of the gender.
Okay.
So they're communicating.
These all sound like political cabinet
Yeah,
positions.
that's how we do it in our house. That's how it goes in our family. It's really fun, actually.
So the keeper calls the baker.
Calls the baker. There was another transporter of the gender who brought a gift over that he couldn't look at. So there's a lot of parties involved here.
Okay.
And then so Sunday we picked up the cake, and my parents came over. My in-laws weren't able to come over.
With this many humans touching it, is there not a risk that someone could have?
Yeah. You never
How
know.
did you do this during COVID with all the exposed kids?
So we have dinner, and then we have the cake. So setting the scene, right?
So you cut the cake, and then whatever the color of the cake
yes,
is. That's
so it's going to be blue or pink.
Okay.
So we set the scene. My 2-year-old sitting there in her high chair. She thinks it's a birthday cake.
Yeah.
Okay. She starts singing "Happy Birthday," which is adorable. And then my wife and we kind of put in 2 knives so that we couldn't like pull it out and like accidentally see it. So we put 2 knives set in there, and I lift the thing up.
Yeah.
And it's baby blue.
Oh,
and
wow.
we start screaming, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's in shock.
Yeah.
And
that's
my
great.
2-year-old starts crying. She's like, why is everyone screaming? So she goes like instant, like terrified because
Yeah.
everyone's screaming so loud.
Yeah.
My 4-year-old wasn't too sure either. She was a little, I think she was
Now,
looking for a
did the
pink
kids
cake.
have like a preference? Like, did they?
No, I mean, they've kind of bounced around a little bit, but overall they've been awesome, man.
Yeah.
They've been super pumped, and we keep telling them, things are going to be a little different around here.
Yeah.
So-
The Welch name lives on.
It lives on. It
Nice.
lives on. So,
man.
yeah.
That's
And
great.
our parents really gave us a gift too this weekend because they took all 4 of our kids for like most of the weekend.
Okay,
From like
wow.
Friday
Oh,
to
wow.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Nice.
What was the occasion?
My mom was just like, give me the kids. I'll take them for the weekend. And we're just like,
That's great.
that's amazing.
Does she take other kids?
Yeah, I think we could work something out.
We could work
you know?
something out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I live quite close to your parents.
do?
Actually.
I
Yeah,
know.
we could.
Yeah.
We could figure something out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, look, let's jump into today's topic, all about the work-life balance or work-life balance myth. So I'll kick it off with a question: what does work-life balance actually mean to you? So I was struggling to articulate it. Don't worry, I didn't write a poem.
Thank you.
I didn't. What do you mean, thank?
I'd have to hit you if you did. Like a frying pan dunk.
You can save the eye roll this time, Andrew.
Kidding, I did write a poem. No. So I was trying to like find like the right sort of way to frame this, and I was reading a couple of articles around this as well, and a couple of quotes I thought were quite good at sort of trying to articulate this. So one quote I read around work-life balance was, it's the sweet spot between burnout and breakdown, so it doesn't really exist as a concept. And then the other one was work-life balance.
You're talking about the ideal work-life balance is the sweet spot
between burnout and breakdown. So it takes you to the precipice of both of those. And then the other one that I really liked was work-life balance means setting boundaries, but modern life blurs those lines. So it's less about equal time and more about being intentional with your time.
Yeah.
So I read both of those. They still didn't really kind of articulate what I was trying to verbalize with work-life balance. I just don't think it necessarily exists as a concept. The way I've sort of always thought about it, and how my wife and I always view our like personal relationship, is there's no notion of 50-50, because 50-50 implies someone is compromising. It implies someone is giving up something. It implies someone is whatever. And so we've always thought about relationship as like 100-100. So if there's goals that we want to achieve individually and together, there's ways to achieve all of it. And so I've always thought of like work-life balance as more of a negative connotation.
Okay.
I've always thought of it as like, you can achieve your work goals and your parental goals concurrently, versus having to feel like you have to give something up in order to achieve something else. And so curious to get your guys' view on what you think about that.
I'll jump in next. I mean, it's hard I think I'm in a little bit of a different position than most, in that I own companies, right? So it feels like, I think people would actually look at it from the outside and be like, oh, when you own your own company or you own this, you do that, you get to make your own schedule and you get to do this. And I would actually say it's anybody who's gone from, being a pure play W-2 to actually owning a company, they realize it's not that way at all. In fact, you feel more obligated for the success of the organization. The lines get blurred even more in the sense of like, you're doing accounting at night. When you're starting up a new company, you might be doing the accounting at night, trying to just, figure out what's on this spreadsheet where you don't ever get to turn it off. Or, there's this, the marriage of like when you try to launch something new, and this would be with anything, right? When you try to launch something new, your spouse, if you're married, they have to pitch in or to do all sorts of stuff. So I think it's really hard to like navigate like what truly is a work-life balance. I kind of feel that there are times where you are going to flex to one side or the other, and know that it's important that, you do realize, and your spouse realizes especially, what you're signing up for when you decide to do something. Because if you're just, hey, I just want to go to work 9 to 5, I'm going to go to my kid's little league game and do that, there is nothing wrong with that. But that's what you've set up. If you're like, hey, I want to do all these other things, and like even if it's just creative endeavors, I know you've got tons of creative endeavors, and you go on the weekends, you have all the sorts of things that you do. Even that sort of stuff's like, how do you juggle that with still wanting to be a dad and still wanting to be a spouse that can support and do all the things that they want? So.
Yeah, I think the family is what brings a new dynamic to work life. Often you think about it as like a young adult or someone that's just out of college, and they're thinking like, okay, I want to work, I want to be successful, but I need to spend some alone time or have time doing things that I like.
Yeah.
And that's where like once you start bringing family dynamics into this and kids, you realize like that part of you, every time you have a kid, I feel like gets divided even smaller.
It's not like it's just a 4% division. It's like 50%. It's always 50%.
Yeah.
Don't you also feel like, and Andrew, you and I like hire a bunch of people as well. Don't you feel like that comes up more and more in like interview questions?
Oh yeah. Which is, I would say the interviewee is very concerned about work-life balance nowadays.
But do you think they understand what that means, or it's just like a buzzword that they throw out there?
Oh, I think it's a buzzword. I
don't think anyone's necessarily honest with themselves about what work-life balance necessarily means.
Well, we know this from, we don't do this, but there's like, if you have a remote team that works remotely, they've done a ton of, and it's guys, depending on when you're listening to this, everybody's calling everybody back to the office. Like every major corporation, they've had enough time to truly understand how can they monitor the activity and the output of remote employees, and basically they're at a point where they're calling them back. I'm not arguing for one way or the other. We have teams that are remote, we have teams that are in office, so we've kind of got a mixture of them. But I would say that if you do work remote, it is very hard for you to understand when you're working and when you're not working, right?
Yeah.
If the hours are between 9 and 5 and that's supposed to be your work day, but you run to the store to go buy lunch and then do a quick workout and come back between meetings, that's not considered work. Now it'll feel like work because people will be texting you and whatever else. You get Slack messages, so it'll feel like work, but in reality, that's not work in the traditional sense. And so I feel that a lot of times people get that confused in the sense of they want freedom, and so they basically say, I need a work-life balance because I want freedom. But in reality, it's they haven't done the other things in their life to kind of identify or qualify.
Yeah, what you actually are is a thief, and you're stealing company time. Anyway.
Well, did you see a lot of people work multiple jobs? Like I just saw an article.
They do.
Guys are having 3 jobs at a time.
Yeah.
And because they can just kind of say, I need flexibility. And then they're telling 3 different employers they're working for them full time, and they're not.
Well, what's interesting is I was looking at a couple of studies that were done about like just work-life balance, and specific to dads as well. And there was one survey done, a tech survey that was done, that said 74% of dads that work from home claim to do chores around the house. Okay, so that's kind of like leaning into what you were saying. But then 28% of dads said the hardest part is switching from working, air quote, working at home, to then instantly parenting. And we've all kind of been where you might be working from home one day and you walk into the kitchen to grab like a glass of water, and a family member sees you and you start a conversation, and 20 minutes later, you're still there.
Yeah.
So there's always like this like blurred line around like the working from home piece, and it's not to go off on a tangent, but the idea being that if you work remotely, not only have you like blurred the lines between, you know, actually working and then switching off, but it's also a larger contributing factor to burnout as well, because you feel like you're always on.
Oh yeah.
And I felt like that during COVID in particular. And so during COVID, what was interesting was it said the average dad who was working remotely was logging around 49 hours a week.
Okay.
So 40 if the average, right?
Mm-hmm.
The average
Yeah.
dad's doing 40. In COVID, you were doing, you know, 49 hours like that you were formally logging.
Yeah.
But reachable in terms of like the fact that everyone knew you were home. So there was no idea, no notion of like, oh, I'm running out to a birthday or I'm running out to do whatever.
Yeah.
People are claiming, and this is from a Harvard Business Review survey, that people are reachable for up to 70 hours a week during COVID. And that's kind of like changed over time, but it's just unsustainable from that standpoint. How do you guys kind of manage like your workloads in general? Like how do you kind of think about, you know, whether it's working from home or balancing work and home life? Do you have like any hacks or tips that you guys have for managing that?
Well, we are in the office every day, so
Yeah.
my job. So it helps keep those boundaries a little bit
Yeah.
clear, to be honest. And then my wife also works.
Yeah.
And so we, you know, there's some times where I have to know, like, hey, she'll tell me, her work is very project based. She'll tell me like, hey, I have to work like starting this time.
Sure.
So like when you get home, I just need to be able to disappear for a couple hours and you know, go do my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just have more like, that's more just communication stuff that we have to make sure that we're on the same page with, or like a lot of times that's hard to do with 4 kids too. So like
Yeah,
sure.
she'll be like, once the kids are down, then I have to work, you know,
And like,
so,
oh darn, I got to Netflix and chill by myself.
you have to watch this martial arts movie by myself, I guess.
All right, Bruce,
Yeah.
it's me and you tonight.
Yeah, that's too true, Andrew. You have no idea. But yeah,
We walk in, he's getting his underwear, doing kung fu on
I
the
do have
couch.
nunchucks.
Wearing his gi and everything.
yeah, I do got nunchucks just so
Yeah.
people know what's up when they come to my house. So yeah, that dynamic. But I think like one of the things we try to do is keep like a consistent meal time.
Yeah.
Like that's like our time. We try
Yeah.
to have a time where we're all sitting down as a family. And again, we have younger kids that aren't doing like tons of extracurricular stuff right now. So that's a very feasible thing,
Yeah.
and it's easy for us to do. So like that's kind of like our touch base. Like everybody's sitting here, and then now from after that,
Yeah.
it's like try to spend some time with the kids,
Sure.
or like again, if she has to work, or I do play music gigs and stuff like that, you know, we work around that stuff. But yeah, I mean, you realize too, like we're at work a lot. Like your life
Yeah.
is primarily
Yeah.
at work. You
better
know,
do it with some people you like.
You
That's-
better, yeah,
that's-
exactly.
We get to goof around doing this.
yeah. You got to be with people you
Well,
like.
you know,
for
you know
sure.
what's funny is, and you touched on that. So, again, I'm not going to throw work-life balance in there, but I'd more call it non-negotiables. So there's certain non-negotiables that we have as a family. Now, obviously, things will pop up, you know, whether it's work-related or friend-related, where you have evening activities similar to what you had referenced to. But we always try and have a consistent dinner time as well. We always have dinner together at the same time. But a reasonably newer thing that my wife has started doing is treating me like one of the kids, where she puts the basket out and I have to put my phone in the basket. 'Cause
Oh, the phone basket. Yeah.
I'm constantly responding to stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Whether it's like, you know, emails or messages or,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever else. And usually like there'll be times where you're locked in at work and you haven't been able to catch up on everything that you want to. And the minute you walk into the house, your mind is already thinking about all the things that you still need to do that evening based on
Sure.
what you didn't get to finish because you had to get home for 6 p.m. And she literally just puts the basket out and the phone goes in. And I get super antsy. Because I can hear the phone
you
going
get
off.
antsy, Naveed, if you don't have your phone.
Yeah, I get.
How
the
about
leg
you? Are you-
starts shaking.
Do you like, I mean, when you don't have your phone on you, how do you?
I try to like put it away. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to be more conscious of that, because you catch yourself.
Oh,
even in
just-
the middle of family time, you're just like, wait a second, why did I pick this up?
Yeah.
You literally can't remember why you picked it up.
It's just a
so
habit.
I'm trying. We have a basket too, like in our kitchen.
Okay.
And so I try to throw it in there, but it doesn't happen
we
all
are
the
a
time.
no phones at the table family. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't. And in general, like
Well, yours is different because your kids are of an age where they can use a phone. I'm the only one at the table with.
So you think you should have phone privileges?
No, I don't think I should have phone privileges. To be
Pulls
clear,
the desk up to the dinner table.
1 second, babe. I swear it's a great rule.
It is a great rule, and I think it just plays into the whole idea of like there has to be a certain level of intentionality in actually trying to identify work-life balance. Gone are the days where you leave the factory at 5 o'clock and it doesn't.
No one can get a hold of you.
It doesn't follow you. I mean. I would love a future like that. Like I remember growing up, my dad started a business when I was, maybe 7 or 8 years old. And I remember like he would leave work and he owned the business. He would leave work and, every once in a while, someone from the office would call late at night and be like, hey, I need help with something. But they'd call the house phone and he'd be sitting on the house phone doing whatever. But nowadays, when you leave the office, to your point, you have a 40-minute drive back to your house. You could get 10 different notifications
100%.
in that 40-minute drive. And, when everything feels like a priority, it's really hard to differentiate what is a priority. And so being intentional about the things that you will respond to versus you won't respond to. Like I've gotten the habit of like trying not to respond to emails super late at night anymore, where I used to be like, all right, from 10 o'clock to 1 in the morning is my time to respond to emails. Now it's like trying to shorten those things up, get good sleep, those type of things. And then I think there's just activities that you have to set up that you want to do that help you feel like you're getting some of the things you want to do, like working out something that's, become more important to me, especially as I get older. It's like, okay, I got to get some physical activity. I can't keep neglecting those things.
So
along with all the family stuff.
Andrew, you got multiple companies and you're CEO. So you have to be getting so many messages constantly. I mean, how do you prioritize? Like, do you just have... Is it people? Is it subject? This email subject?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, how do you?
Let me just tell you, I've seen him do it. Select all, delete all.
It's close. No, I will first. I have incredible teams that work with and under me. So a lot of it has turned into more delegation. And I think it takes a certain capacity to be able to do the context switching. That's the hardest thing. It's like everybody at any job typically feels like they've got a million to-dos. No matter what you do, you feel like, okay, I've got a million to-dos lined up. And being comfortable with there being a lot of to-dos is something that you just grow accustomed to. And I think more recently, specifically, it's like, how can I get these to-dos to be managed by someone who is probably better suited to do those things? And I don't mean better suited in the sense of me trying to just not do the work, but like, hey, this is something that they are truly better positioned to handle than I would be. But the hardest part is the context switching, is knowing when something is important, when it's worth, I've had, I went out with a couple people last night, and it was, they're part of our, of a community of investors for one business, but they're just great people. So I got to take a work-life balance thing. I got to take this work thing that I get to do and kind of mix it in with something that was enjoyable. And they were great. I mean, they were great people.
Well, before we get to context switching, I think that's touching on something for a second, is when you genuinely love what you do, it doesn't feel like work.
And
because there's times when my wife will have evening plans and I'll get really excited because it means I can guilt-free do work without feeling
all the time,
without feeling like I'm not neglecting, but I'm feeling like I'm not spending active time. She's like, oh, I've book club tonight. I'm like, stay out late, babe. Enjoy the best time. It's just, but the other piece that you touched on that I want to just kind of talk through is the whole context switching. And I wrote it down as the transition. How do you guys transition from the work environment and home? Because I have a reasonable commute time, which I like. But even then, I'm still struggling to make that transition from work to home. How do you guys think about that?
It's just a different. I feel like the hard thing is too. Again, you have work to do as soon as you, especially with little kids. Being a dad, and your wife has been with the kids all day. It's not like you can come home and go on the old couch and kick your shoes off, grab the remote, man.
Married with children, where you just a grumpy guy.
That's a tricky part for Andrew and I. Both our wives stay at home. And so you coming home is also the time for when the teamwork part of the
exactly. So the work just changes. You're still in work mode,
and
but
by
now
the way, that work is harder and more stressful.
Right. Well, you're dealing with toddlers, man. That can, but they're terrorists in a lot of negotiations. Just spend time. You're just like, I'm not going to win this one.
Yeah.
My daughter, my 2-year-old lately, she'll just tell me something. Like, she doesn't ask. She just says it. I'll just go, you're not in charge. She goes, I'm in charge.
Yeah.
Like my 2-year-old, I go, no, you're not. You're not in charge. She goes, I'm in charge.
I've met your 2-year-old. She's in charge.
She's in charge.
To be clear.
Oh, man.
The other one that I've thought about long and hard doing is just driving around the block.
Yeah.
You're just not home yet. Yeah.
I don't know how long you can do that
Yeah.
for.
I think the gig is up.
Let me tell you, my wife is so generous, like with her time in general. So we have a open door policy at our house.
Sure.
So she's one of 8 siblings, 7 girls, 1 boy,
Nice.
and those sisters are extremely close. So without fail, somebody's
Somebody's
at
over.
Yeah.
our house. And there are times when, when you've had like a really stressful day and you're already up against the gun where you're like, okay, I know I need to be home at a reasonable time for dinner. This can wait. I'll finish up after dinner and bedtime and everything. And you're driving and you're like midway through a phone call and you're trying to hang up so you can, get to the house. And as you're rolling up to your driveway, you see just an assortment of cars. And you have a moral
Been there.
decision.
Yeah.
Where you're like,
Yeah.
I could just keep driving. I could just keep driving.
Yeah.
It's really tough. What tips do you guys have? Any tips that you guys have for the transition? I know you kind of touched on a few things, but what about you?
Well, I mean, we're in a very unique. I think we're in a unique position just because of the quantity of kids. Maybe not unique in the sense of the kids, because no matter what, it's whether I had 3 kids or whatever the number we have now, it's always been stressful. I handle it a lot better now. Like when I was a young dad, and maybe when I was a dad of all young kids is a better way to put it. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't my age. It was maybe the collection of kids' age.
Sure.
It feels like you have been, dropped behind enemy lines with no gun and no instruction manual
And no end in sight.
and no end in sight. And you're just like, all right, go. And so it feels like some insurmountable task, and everything in you wants to just like, whatever, grab a beer, quote unquote, grab a beer and disappear type
and
thing.
try to check
like
out.
everything in you wants to do that sort of activity. But you, at least for me, I was like, well, that's not the dad I want to be.
Yeah.
So
Right.
if we talk about being intentional, like I have to engage, and sometimes my engaging was probably less helpful to everybody in
No,
the
I can
room.
tell you it's probably
But there was an intentional, like, no, I want to be doing
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
even though I might be harming the whole situation. I want to try to do this.
How was your wife in that entire period?
Well, she's incredible.
Patient.
I mean, incredibly patient, incredible along the way, like just everything, to the point that like, because we always had this idea of like, similar to you guys, like we'll be home for dinner every single night. And probably the first 6 to 7 years of our marriage, we were able to do that. We were home for dinner most of the time. And we did a really good job, I think, overall of just like trying to maintain some a semblance of like family time.
Yeah.
But as kids get older and they start going like
Right.
tonight, like I get my schedule every single day after work of like, you got to be here to pick up for football practice, do this, because we are starting to become that age. So I think I think it changes. But one thing that was I think a huge opportunity or a huge intentional moment for our marriage was I was launching my first like true software company, and I was, I'd go to work at the company I was in at that time. It'd be like an 8 to 8 job, so it was 12 hours. So I wasn't like, that was a point in our life where there no dinners were happening. It was just, hey, we're grinding away.
Yeah.
And we'd get home and I'd help put the kids to bed. But then my wife was like, well, what about me? Like I have been doing nothing but hanging out with kids all day.
Yeah.
I need some time. And so, and I think I told you guys about this, but my wife and I coined it Coffee 30, where it was like 30 minutes of dedicated one-on-one time. To your point, there was no phones.
Yeah.
There was no computer off in the distance, no TV. It was just her and I was going to be up for that because I would then code for like, whatever, 9 to 1 or 2 in the morning, and she would go to bed and whatever else. So I knew I was going to be up for the next 4 or 5 hours. So I'd drink a normal cup of coffee, and then she would obviously drink a decaf or tea. And so we called it Coffee 30.
Yeah.
And Coffee 30 has maintained to this day. We still have, like when we haven't been able to connect for a while, someone will send each other a text, be like, hey, Coffee 30 tonight, just to know like, hey, we're going to spend 30 minutes of undivided time sitting at the kitchen table or wherever on the porch or whatever, just talking about whatever might be on our mind.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a big part
Was
of
it
being
weird when
intentional.
you guys first did that?
Oh my gosh. You talk about like putting your phone in the thing and like jittering your leg.
Yeah.
It was like, I would have literally like, I'd be like coding in my head of all the things
That's
that
why
I
I was
need to
asking
get
you,
out.
because
And it'd be like, can we just hurry this whole stupid thing up? Because it doesn't matter. We love each other. Nothing's going to change.
Let's do coffee 30 seconds.
Yeah, 100%. But it quickly became like a very like hollowed time where it was like, I would say after a couple like cycles on, I was like, this is something that's really good for us.
Yeah.
And, we saw the fruit of it pretty quickly, especially for her. She got the interface time that she needed. I got the interface time that I probably didn't know I needed.
Yeah, right.
Like that was the big thing, is like, I'm one of those people who's probably comfortable with, drowning to a certain point without realizing it's like detrimental to your health. I'm kind of comfortable with it. So like, she's always been very good at, what I like to say is my wife's always pretty good at pulling me into play. Mm-hmm. And, as you get older and as you want to accomplish things, and whether it's monetary or just, accomplishments, it becomes harder and harder as an adult man to remember that like play should be like at the forefront of our mind. So like the context switching when you get home should be less about the next list of tasks we have to do, but like how can we like engage with with that side of us that like when I wanted to be a dad more than anything. Like I didn't care about what I was going to do professionally, whatever. Like we got married young, and the number one thing I wanted to be was a dad of a lot of kids. We accomplished that.
Hey man, congrats!
I wasn't necessarily expecting that many kids, but then you have the thing where you're talking about, it's like this thing that you wanted so badly. Now you're like, oh my gosh, you got to walk into this thing. It's like World War III in there. So really trying to find
and you can sense the temperature of the room.
Oh, dude!
As soon as you walk
it's like
in,
you open up the door, it's like why? You close the door and you stand there like, oh gosh,
maybe they didn't hear me open the door. Maybe if I
the dog starts barking like, shut up, you stupid dog.
Slowly close the door, back out, make sure you can back out the car. Yeah, exactly.
Or like the surprises you get when you don't know they're gone and you get home and no one's at home.
Oh, that's so weird.
Well, here's the great thing. You're like, yes, this is awesome. You get in, like 30 seconds in the house, you're like, where is everybody?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. It's true.
You're like,
no, it's so
I'm
true.
all alone.
I know, you're like, where's the screaming?
When you see your text, you're like, hey, where is everybody? Oh, we're down at my parents'. Oh, cool.
Yeah. That was this weekend. We didn't have the kids. And multiple times we're like, this is so weird. And then like we were out, we got some food, and then we were like, I don't know, you want to catch a movie? We don't have to be home. Like to let the sitter go.
Yeah.
It was just the weirdest feeling. But you get so used to the chaos that a quiet house really throws you off.
It's the opposite of when you were kids and you were like, oh, if only I had like freedom for my parents. And once you've like had the junk food, watched the movie and stayed up past your bedtime, you're like, kind of miss them.
Yeah, where's mommy? Yeah, 100%.
What about dad guilt? Do you guys have dad guilt?
Not really. I don't know if I really get a lot of dad guilt.
Yeah, I would say I have husband guilt more than dad guilt.
Ooh, I like that.
Does that make sense? Yeah, like my kids are well looked after. We try to do a very good job of supporting them, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all the ways that you should support a child. I think we do a really good job of it as a couple. But there are many days where, I get to go on a business trip, and the business trip is like, oh, I got to go slum it at the Four Seasons in Miami at a finance conference, right? Like
what a tough
life I live. Where my wife, it's snowing in Cleveland, and my wife's got to shuttle kids back and forth. Well, you have to downplay it,
babe.
And then she FaceTimes you, and you're sitting by the pool, and it's sunny out, and you're like, it's
a Zoom background. It's a Zoom background.
So I'll feel that. My wife is super gracious with it though, because she's like, listen, I get it. And it was actually really cool. So she recently went on one of these trips, like one of these conference trips.
Yeah.
And she was like, I always thought like you were like hamming it up when you're like, hey, it's not like, I know it seems like a lot of fun, but when your whole day is meeting and talking with people that you don't know, and
it's exhausting.
It's exhausting. Yeah. She's like, I don't like, I used to be like, yeah, sure, whatever. She's like, it is exhausting. She had like, it's this 4-day trip. She came back just like, I don't like that life. I used to think I want that, or like was jealous. She's like, that is not the life I want. So
I actually feel really sorry for you. Your life sucks.
So, but I do have husband guilt with that because during those events, you're like, we'll sometimes be like, okay, we're going to take our one of our sales teams out for a golf trip or something like that.
Sure.
Those are genuinely fun times.
Yeah.
And it is sometimes you feel bad, but I think it was more
One
husband
second.
guilt. than
I
dad
don't
guilt.
have fun on those trips, babe, just to be clear.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm sure you
continue.
don't. I'm sure you know. When we're together, you're always just, scrolling
Crying
through your
and all
pictures
that.
of your,
Yeah.
my wife and kids.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that. Then keep that in. Keep that in. Nice. Well, look, let's put a bow on it and move into lightning round. I thought we'd do something a little bit different, a little twist
Okay.
on lightning round. So I'm coining this section. Finish the sentence. So I'll start a
Okay.
sentence.
All right.
And you guys finish it with whatever comes to mind. Don't overthink it.
Okay.
The last time I was truly off the clock was.
4 years ago.
What are you doing? I don't know.
You
Colonoscopy.
said the first thing I think came to my mind. Go ahead, Matt.
Off the clock last weekend. I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like. Yeah.
Slacker. Mine was my my honeymoon. That's the last time I truly disconnected.
Okay.
That was like a 7 to 10 day period where now I was on my phone, but there
Yeah.
was specific times I was allowed to be on my phone. But like when we were out sightseeing, doing all of that stuff, I was not allowed to take my phone, and it was, like I said, jittery. It was-
That you brought up. You reminded me
Yeah.
of something. For my birthday, we went out to this place in Arizona. My wife and I. I forget the name of it. It was like Northern Arizona. We'll post it or something like that. We'll throw an Instagram post
Yeah.
on it because this place was incredible. And there's no cell phone reception on the property.
Yeah.
They have Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi password is something like, "Are you sure you want to?" ?
Yeah.
That's
because the
great.
whole point is disconnecting. So literally, like for 3 days, I put my phone down, dude. I have never felt so just like relaxed. I can't even tell you what we did for those 3 days.
Yeah.
It was Castle Hot Springs,
Okay.
Hot
Yeah.
Springs in
Okay.
Arizona.
Okay.
We hiked every day. I mean, we just did so many cool things. It was that I would say whenever that was, February of this year, was one of the last times I felt like truly like I literally was like I slept incredible. Like my phone, like I woke up when I woke up. It was awesome. It was
That's
like
awesome.
the best time ever.
Why'd you come back?
Yeah.
But I mean, you have life, right? But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
if you could just grab those moments of just like,
Yeah.
it's and my wife and I talk about it all the time, and she's always trying to push me into getting more of those days. But yeah,
All right. I knew I had no work-life balance when. I got a really
You
bad
gotta-
one.
you
I've
gotta
got-
answer- you
I've
gotta
got-
answer
I've got
it.
a really bad one for this one.
what's that?
There was emails coming through like on our wedding day.
Yeah,
That I was like, should I just open the laptop and just respond
crank
to
'em out?
these?
dude,
I stopped myself. I couldn't. That would have
Yeah,
been
good call,
that just
good
would
call.
have been a low. That would have
Yeah.
been bad.
I was 2 hours late to my rehearsal dinner. Yeah. My wife and I laugh about it, but the rehearsal dinner was nearly over when I showed up.
Nice.
Yeah, that wasn't a good. We weren't married yet, but
Yeah.
a way
Almost
to kick,
didn't.
way
Yeah.
to kick things
Yeah.
off.
That's
Wait to
great.
set the bar
Yeah.
low going
Yeah,
in.
Yeah.
No,
What about
she's
you?
been very gracious.
Yeah, I think for me it's more when I started having kids that you realize like there's no turning off really.
Yeah.
Like you used to be able to before kids. Yeah, you could come home and turn off. Like
Yeah.
you're with another adult.
Yep.
And everything's logical and reasonable.
Yep.
So that all goes out the door when you start having kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If quality time had a soundtrack, it would be.
I kind of thinking like yacht rock style. You know what I mean?
I literally was gonna say yacht rock.
Yeah. I mean, I could buy.
That's
yeah.
chill.
My
It's good, but-
my son. I don't know where he makes these playlists.
Uh-huh.
They are like the kid. You know how all the kids are saying nowadays, like vibe, like it's a
Oh
good
yeah.
vibe.
Oh yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
vibe,
It's all about the
whatever.
vibes.
Yeah.
Like genuinely his music is a vibe. It is like, so we've just created like in the last probably 4 or 5 months, I basically take like from Friday night at 7 p.m. till Saturday at 7 p.m. and I try to do nothing, like no
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
Obviously I do like a lot of other stuff with the kids, whenever, but like no work, no dedicated
yeah.
work. So I try to carve out like 24 hours, kind of like a Sabbath, right? Like
Yeah.
we're not Jewish, but kind of like that Sabbath idea of like
Sure.
one full day of no work. And I've noticed like during the week he plays. We have Sonos speakers everywhere. We love music, but like I'll sit there and vibe sometimes on that little like Saturday morning when they
Yeah,
got their
yeah.
music playing, and it's either like silence or vibing, or like we live next to the metro parks, and so like just sitting there and like listening to like I don't know, trees and birds and animals and weird stuff, kids playing off in the distance, like background noise. Like I love background noise.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's something to be said about not being alone with your thoughts there, but we don't have to unpack
Yeah.
All right.
That's another episode.
That's another question. The dad brain. Anyway, last
Well,
question.
there's nothing going on. It's just
No, it's actually just a monkey with the symbols just going ding, 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 ding. All right, last one. I'm most productive when? I'm most productive when my calendar is stacked.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love when my calendar is stacked.
Okay.
I don't like quieter days because I feel like if my back is not against the wall, you can kind of, it's sometimes like, I don't know if you have this like sometimes with like any of your employees or just like people you work with, if you give someone too much time to do something, they'll typically take the allotted time to do it.
I mean, Musk is a
all
big
that
proponent
time.
of that. It's like he's basically like, if you plan on getting something done in 3 weeks, you'll get it done in 3 weeks. So plan on having it done
Like-
in a week, and you'll get it done in a week.
Even like our personal life is like that. It's like, okay, pregnant with twins, moving house, school year about to start.
These are all self-inflicted gunshot
yeah,
wounds,
yeah.
buddy.
It's the way he likes to be, though.
Multiple companies. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, well, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Let's just do all of it. And I actually love jumping around between all of that. There's
Yeah.
something about when there's not a lot going on that I start feeling like antsy. And so I'm actually least productive when there's less things to do.
That makes
feel
sense.
most
No,
productive when
I think we have to
I
dig
feel
into
similar
that.
to that.
I think that's something we have to dig into
Yeah,
more than
you
my
can.
me sitting on the screen in
Stop
porch,
deflecting.
zoning out.
You've got the monkey and the symbols with Andrew doing and mine's like the Jack in the Box. It's just being like wound up.
Yeah.
I would actually almost go like in the opposite direction, because like most of my work, like I would say, is like creative is the wrong word, but I do like a lot of like strategic thinking and stuff. So when
Yeah.
I have time to like actually sit and think, I
Yeah.
usually come up with like, maybe not like a way to get out of something, but like it clarifies my mind. in a
So
lot
from
of
like
ways.
11 to 1 a.m., your brain is probably
Dude,
rocking.
or I go the other way. I wake up
Yeah.
at 5 a.m. and
Yeah, yeah.
like, I have 5 a.m. to whatever,
Yeah.
6 a.m. I don't like waking up early. I know it's
Yeah.
I know it's so in vogue, and everybody talks about waking up early, and I've done it for so long. But recently, over the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I've just been waking up when I wake up, which is like 6:30, 7 o'clock. So I'm not talking about like sleeping in.
Sure.
But like I was waking up at like 4:30 to 5 o'clock, and I just enjoy going to bed at like midnight, 1 o'clock, waking up between like 6:30.
Because you still get the quiet time hours. You just get them at night versus in the morning.
and I don't know. I really like waking up. I really like waking
Yeah,
up later.
yeah.
I'm going against the grain, man.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going against
No,
like the old school.
I would say
Like,
too.
what time did your dad's wake up? Well, your dad probably woke up early because he was a
Yes,
doctor.
always,
My
yeah.
dad woke up
without
really
fail.
early too.
Like-
He was a road warrior though. He was.
Oh, your dad was?
Yeah, yeah.
My dad, if you didn't wake him up, it was like he'd roll out of bed at like whatever, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
He still to this day, like unless he's waking himself up, it's like
Yeah.
he sleeps in as long as he
Yeah.
can. But he also stays up till 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh,
If
okay.
you weren't up pre 7 a.m., my dad would just say good afternoon every time you were
Oh,
up.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just a thing in our house. What about
good.
you? You didn't answer that.
No, I'd say in a different direction too. When I'm well slept, or if I sleep,
Yeah.
and if I work out, I'm the most
Ooh,
productive.
workouts
Because
are
I'm same
good
way.
example, yeah.
I'm more of a night owl, but like
But you work out in the morning?
forced myself to be early
Okay.
morning just to
Yeah.
work out.
Yeah.
And the days that I get up early, or the days that I get to bed on time,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to sleep like enough and then be able to get up and work out. I don't know. I mean, it's like a superpower. Like those are the days I have the most energy.
Yeah.
You always think, oh, I'm getting up early. I'm gonna be so tired. You're not.
You're
You
not,
actually
and
have
I get it. I
more
mean, you're
energy
right.
after your workouts later in the day.
Yeah.
You just don't. I don't feel like you go through those like those waves of like I'm tired. I'm not tired. I feel like it's more steady
If you
energy
read
all
between
day.
the lines, he just called you soft. But I think that's what I heard.
I will fight you right now.
Throw these mics.
Moving swiftly on.
Well, real
No, I
quick-
would say I agree with Andrew. I don't like getting up early either. Like,
Yeah,
but it's-
and during the we're off school year. Like during the school
Exactly.
year, I launch back
Different.
in. It's
Yeah, exactly.
Stupid early.
Yep.
But if I had my druthers,
Yeah.
I would not. Now you have an iWatch on.
Apple Watch. Yeah.
Do you track your sleep? I got you sidetracked.
I know. We just got an email.
text came
I
in.
was like, literally as you said that, I was like, no,
Do you
I don't.
track your
I take it
sleep?
off when I sleep.
Because I've been thinking about tracking. The Whoop bracelets or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been thinking about doing something like that. I hate the charging.
Don't look nice. I can't get my head around.
Yeah,
it.
I don't really care. How
If
it
they
looks
want to
as much
sponsor
as,
us,
like-
I'm available. But I just
I'll change my mind on that really fast.
I'm just thinking like it'd be nice to know like how good of sleep you're
Yeah,
getting or how
I
bad
agree.
of sleep you're getting.
Yeah.
Because I think
the
there's
Aura Ring does that too.
That I think is weird.
Yeah.
The Aura Ring is
Also,
weird.
if they want to sponsor us, we don't think it's weird.
Yeah.
Let's not isolate people here. Steady on. You don't speak for all of us here.
Garmin's like, yes, we got one.
Oh man, that's great.
All right, moving on. What about dad interests this week? Anyone got anything fun?
I have. I'm not sure if you guys know this about me, that I like smoking cigars.
Yeah.
When'd you get into
cigar
that, Andrew?
smoker. A while ago.
Yeah.
I mean, probably years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I kind of went on and off, and I'm in like a season like I'm really liking smoking cigars.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
in your vibe era.
Yeah,
right
I'm in
now.
my vibe era. Yeah,
Yacht
And-
rock.
Yeah,
and it's been really cool because like I found a couple guys who are like really big into cigar smoking, and so like typically you're like, what do you do when you're 40? Like you're not gonna go play a game at night or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've just had a couple experiences where I've been able to go and just like hang out.
You
for,
got
like,
the grill meets. You
to-
play golf. You
Yeah.
Yeah,
smoke
yeah.
cigars.
But like playing golf, especially in Cleveland, like you're so limited, whether it's time, weather,
Sure,
whatever,
sure.
right? So you're like, okay, if I can't spend the 4 hours a day, like, cigar, you go over to someone's house and have a cigar, it's like 2 hours or, an hour and a half to 2
Yeah,
hours.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like a nice like bookend. There's like time
Yeah.
limit on the cigar, right? So if you
true.
don't like them, you just, you're hotboxing the cigar.
Something's wrong with this one.
Something's wrong with it. Gotta go. but overall, it's been fun. So some of my like EP Carrillo, I think it's called EP Carrillo's. They make this cigar called the Pledge, and then there's another one called Allegiance. Fantastic
Okay.
cigars.
Let's make a note of those.
Fantastic cigars. And then Rocky Patel, I think it's called their like anniversary 60 anniversary 60 or something like that. Those are some good cigars. And then like my father makes good cigars. There's a bunch of them
Sure,
out there.
yeah.
But those are like those have been my go-to cigars.
Does
for
your
the last
wife?
little bit.
Does your wife partake
My wife does
in
not
any
smoke
of the vibe
cigars
sessions
at
she
all.
you're having these days?
Does she like? Is she
She'll sit
okay with
there.
you walking in, like smelling like
Oh, yeah,
cigars?
she doesn't care.
She-
She,
yeah,
she
okay.
doesn't care about that at all.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother her. In fact, like my kids, so we've got this like screened-in porch off the side of our house, and I'll smoke cigars out there until it's like really too cold to be outside. And like usually what'll happen is I'll be out there just reading something or staring off
Yeah,
in the distance,
yeah.
and the kids come out, and then it turns into like a hangout
When
session
do
outside.
you transition from cigar guy to a pipe guy?
Oh, there's no pipe. There's no
no
pipe
pipe.
in my
But
future.
we can
It's pipe
expect
coming.
your podcast voice though to
Yeah, to
slowly
go deeper and
cooler,
deeper.
deeper and cooler over time now. Yeah,
Where do
Bring
you
him
think I
back up
got
with
this?
AI.
that's right. That's right. I've been working hard. You've been working hard for this voice.
This is hun, I'm practicing for the podcast. Yeah, exactly.
Let's hard pivot to Matt. Why don't you take us home?
Yeah, guys, thanks for listening. Where are the dads at? We want to hear from you guys. Leave us comments on YouTube, on Instagram, really any of the social platforms. You can find us and hit subscribe to the podcast. That way you get notified every time a new one drops. We've been trying to do one weekly, which we've been able to do the last couple months. Actually, we've been doing this. So we appreciate all the feedback and all the listeners. So thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.